Record button on? Okay, we're good. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to IGTV. We have with us today the CEO of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, Craig Floyd. And Craig, once again, it's always great seeing you. All right, and we do understand that you've got a number of things to tell us. Hopefully, you've had an exciting and fulfilling week of activities with National Police Week. And why don't you take it over, and I'll be quiet here.
Well, I thank you, Joe. As always, great to be back with you. We visit every month, and unfortunately, every month we have too many deaths of law enforcement professionals to talk about. I will get to that in a moment, what happened in May. It wasn't a good month by any stretch in terms of fatalities, but National Police Week was really the highlight of May, and certainly that occurred between our last visit and now. I mentioned earlier to you offline that we had 41 ceremonies and events that we either participated in or organized during National Police Week and leading up to National Police Week the week or two before. And it's an amazing period of time for us here at the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. National Police Week, of course, has grown to something that I don't think any of us could have anticipated. We started out, the FOP actually, the Fraternal Order of Police and their auxiliary, started in 1982 with a small ceremony up on Capitol Hill near the U.S. Capitol. 125 people showed up that first year to commemorate Peace Officers Memorial Day, which occurs every year on May 15th. And from that grew Concerns of Police Survivors, a survivor self-help group, the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, which was founded in 1984, and National Police Week activities generally here in Washington, D.C., which has grown from a crowd of about 125 people that first year to crowds that now number well over 20,000 each and every year that we commemorate National Police Week. This year's numbers were based on most anecdotal evidence we had from prior visitors, was probably the largest we've seen since 2002 when we added the 9/11 names. So the bottom line is this year was a very successful year. So many people came to town. Unfortunately, one of the reasons the numbers grew is we had many more officers killed in 2010 than we had in previous years. 152 officers died last year, and all of their names were added to the memorial during our National Police Week event. Our signature event is our candlelight vigil, which occurred on May 13th. We had the Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder, there delivering a keynote address. We also had remarks from the Secretary of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano. And we also added names from prior years that had been forgotten about by history. 164 officers from earlier years in U.S. history were added to the memorial walls this year, including one officer, Cornelius Hogeboom, an upstate New York sheriff who died in 1791 and is now officially recognized as the first officer ever to die in the line of duty here in the United States. So Police Week comes and goes so quickly, but we had some just wonderful events, met so many incredible people. I got to meet the family, just sharing one anecdote with you. Wesley Brown, a Maryland state trooper. Wesley Brown, as it turns out, grew up in a very tough part of Maryland. He was surrounded by poverty and drugs and violence. At age 20, he decided to do something about it. He didn't want the drugs and violence to take over his life or the people around him. So he ends up becoming a Maryland state trooper and ultimately starting a mentoring program for young men in his community. And he did that for a little over 3 years, that made a huge difference in his community and in his state of Maryland. And then he was brutally gunned down, assassinated by a man he had escorted off the premises of a restaurant who had been unruly. The man went home, got a gun, came back and assassinated Wesley Brown in the parking lot. And I got to meet, when we added his name to the memorial and when we honored him this past month, I got to meet his family. I got to meet some of the kids that he mentored. This was an incredible individual, just one of the 316 that we added to the memorial this year. And thankfully, because his name's on that memorial, because his story will be told in our National Law Enforcement Museum that we're building, he will be forever remembered and his story will continue to inspire others, even though his life was cut so short at the age of 24. So just one memory I'll share with you there from National Police Week. Met so many other surviving family members and officers from all over the country, and many from foreign nations. We had officers from Israel and India and Australia and Great Britain and Canada, just to name a few of the countries. And another major highlight, and really the last one I'll share, is the Police Unity Tour. This is a group of police officers and some survivors on bicycles who pedal more than 300 miles or so from points in New Jersey and in Virginia to the Washington, D.C. area and to the National Memorial. And we greeted them on May 12th of this year. There were more than 1,400 participants, the largest ever in Police Unity Tour history, which started in 1997. And they presented us with a check for $1.5 million. The biggest donation they've ever made to the Memorial Fund, and that money will be put to great use, helping to honor the fallen and helping us to build the National Law Enforcement Museum. So just some of the wonderful moments that occurred during National Police Week. If we had another couple of hours, I could share so many more, but believe me, it was something to behold. Any of your listeners that haven't ever been with us during National Police Week need to make the trip next year. Put May 13th on your calendar. That's our candlelight vigil. And then, of course, May 15th is the Peace Officers Memorial Day service at the U.S. Capitol.
Well, you do such a great job with this, Craig. And I tell you, if you weren't being paid for it, I'd say it's just such a dedication and devotion to this. It's just wonderful. You bring such a level of professionalism to this, and it's just wonderful. Because as you and I had discussed some time ago, it is about, bringing a voice and bringing some vision and some visual context to these officers who have given so much, all right, and to hopefully leave some feeling with the surviving families that we haven't forgotten about them, all right, and that their work is truly something that we will remember for a lifetime. This year, in the notes that some of your staff sent to me, they said 316 officers were dedicated to the memorial this year, which is a lot of people. That is a lot of fallen heroes out there from all around the country. And even more shocking to me was this whole thing. There are 19,298 people on that wall. That's kind of a scary statistic as far as I was concerned. That is a lot of people out there. All right, so all of this is.
It would be nice, Joe, if we could say there is an end in sight too, and there really isn't. A couple years ago, we got the number down to 122 deaths in 2009, and we thought we had a real chance at that moment to get the deaths below 100 for a single year. That would be the first time that's happened since the 1940s. Unfortunately, numbers have been going the other direction. In 2010, I mentioned we lost 152 officers. Already this year, in 2011, we've lost 81 officers killed in the line of duty. That's about a 20% increase over the same time last year. And we've seen 34 officers shot and killed. That's almost 40% higher than the number from last year. So unfortunately, despite our best efforts to try to make it safer for our officers, share information about how officers are being killed, a lot of good equipment, a lot of good training, it's not enough. There's a lot of people out there that prey on police officers, that outgun our officers at times, and unfortunately our officers are at greater risk than we've seen in recent years.
Now, Craig, just before we end the tape here, now for people who weren't able to participate in National Police Week, I know you folks down there have done a great job in trying to capture a lot of this on video and other ways. Is there a DVD available to people, and how would they get their hands on that if they just wanted to, make a donation and perhaps purchase that DVD in memorial of everyone?
No, that's a great point, Joe. Thank you. Yes, there will be a DVD of our candlelight vigil from the beginning of the ceremony all the way through our names reading. We read every single new addition. Their names are read at the end of the ceremony. All of that will be captured on our DVD. It'll be available around the 1st of July, and they can go to our website at lawmemorial.org, www.lawmemorial.org, and they'll be able to see where they can order that DVD. And also, really, check out our blog page, which has highlights from National Police Week, a lot of photographs, a lot of text about all the things that happened and some of the people that we met, video tapes that we made of some of the visiting guests, survivors, as well as officers. I think they'll find it very interesting. That's lawmemorial.org.
All right, everybody. So you heard it from Craig Floyd. Beginning early in July, the DVD will be available. And if you ever wanted to make a donation to an organization that is certainly putting everything in the right place, Craig Floyd and the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund is a place to put down $20, $25, or even $30, whatever it happens to be. All right, for that DVD. Help them support the building of this virtual museum. And this, kind of memorial, quite frankly, for all our fallen heroes around the country that are trying to, keep civilized society, sane and, so that we can all appreciate life. All right, and that's what these people are doing. You've just run this thing up incredibly. It's just a wonderful week. I hope everybody down there had a great time. 20,000 people. It's come a long, long way. Mario Biaggi would be very proud of you today. All right. And Craig, just keep up the great work. And, we'll say our prayers and light a candle here at church on Sunday that maybe some of these fatalities will trend downward. All right. That's the best we could do right now. All right.
That's all our hope and prayer. And, hopefully by the end of this year, the numbers will calm down a bit. Right now, they seem to be moving in just the opposite direction. So a lot of good work by law enforcement. Let's not be complacent out there, and let's give them the support they need, the resources, the training, and the equipment.
Okay. Greg, once again, thanks. Good to see you. We'll see you next month.
Thank you, Joe. Take care.
All right. Bye now.